Will you enter into a spirit of prayer with me? Gracious God, we thank you for this commencement service, which is both culmination and beginning. We thank you for the journey of education these graduates have enjoyed and for the character formation that has occurred along the way. We thank you for all those who took part in that education and formation, from food service staff to professors to deans, and for their continuing commitment to excellence. We thank you for the friends and family who celebrate with the graduates, for their support, their dreams, and the meaning their pride adds to the achievement of graduation. We thank you for California University and for the shared values of integrity, civility, and responsibility that bind our hearts in common principle and purpose. For turning I could to I have, tears to laughter, classmates to friends, professors to inspiration, we thank you. May we have the same transformative power in all we do. Amen.
Please be seated. Before we begin, let me make brief mention that should the fire alarm go off, please remain calm and in your seats and await further direction from me should there indeed be an emergency. Good morning and welcome to California University of Pennsylvania's 174th commencement celebration. I am Geraldine Jones, Provost of California University of Pennsylvania, and it is my pleasure to introduce members of the platform party and several other persons with us here today. I will begin introductions with those seated in the back row and ask each person to stand as his or her name is called. And may I ask you, the audience, to hold your applause until everyone is introduced. Dr. Bruce Barnhart, Associate Provost. Dr. Daniel Engstrom, Associate Dean, College of Education and Human Services. Mrs. Heidi Williams, University Registrar. Mr. Douglas Hoover, Dean of Library Services. Dr. William Edmonds, Dean of Admissions. Dr. John Sensage, Dean, School of Graduate Studies and Research. Dr. Leonard Kaleli, Dean, Eberly College of Science and Technology. Dr. Mohammed Gamba, Interim Dean, College of Liberal Arts. Dr. Kevin Corey, Dean, College of Education and Human Services. Dr. Lenora Angelone, Vice President for Student Affairs. Mr. Craig Butzine, Vice President for Marketing and University Relations. Dr. Charles Mance, Vice President for University Technology Services. Ms. Sharon Navoni, Interim Vice President for University Development and Alumni Relations. The Reverend Jana Quisenberry, Pastor, California United Christian Church. Mr. Corey Stoner, Chair 2012 Senior Gift Drive and Graduating Senior. Ms. Autumn Harris, Council of Trustees, Graduating Senior. Mr. Robert Thorne, Vice President for Administration and Finance. Dr. John Callis, Chairperson and Professor, Department of Applied Engineering and Technology and Faculty Marshal. Mr. Leo Krantz, Council of Trustees. Mr. Lawrence Maggi, Class of 1979, Vice Chair, Council of Trustees. Mr. Robert Irie, Chair, Council of Trustees. Happy birthday. Major General Donna Barbish, Class of 1977, today's guest speaker. Ms. Muriel Summers to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Dr. Angelo Armenti Jr., President, California University of Pennsylvania. Joining us today from the Community College of Allegheny County as part of our collaboration program in nursing is Ms. Maureen Palvik, Interim Dean of Nursing. Representatives from the Alumni Association who will be presenting alumni pins to the graduates are Mrs. Kathleen Conley, Class of 1995 and 1996, Director of Cal U for Life. Mrs. Leslie Fleener, Class of 2008, Assistant Director of CalU for Life. Also, at this time, I would like to recognize the members of our faculty who were honored by the Faculty Professional Development Committee for their outstanding achievements in service and teaching. Will each faculty member with us today please rise and be recognized when your name is announced? Grants and Contracts Merit Award presented to Dr. Thomas Mueller, Earth Sciences. Research Merit Award presented to Mr. Jeffrey Sumi, Applied Engineering and Technology. Technology Merit Award presented to Dr. Summer Arrigo Nelson, Biological and Environmental Sciences. Service and Service Learning Merit Award presented to Dr. Sarah Meese, Biological and Environmental Sciences. Teaching and Learning Merit Award presented to Dr. Ali Zazar, Chemistry and Physics. Under the direction of Dr. Hugo Ikach, the University Choir will now present Forever Cal, words and music by Bob Dylan, Rod Stewart, arranged by Russ Shively.
Good morning. University trustees, Reverend Quisenberry, Dr. Barbish, Ms. Summers, distinguished guests, university administrators, faculty, staff, alumni, emeriti faculty, families, loved ones, friends, and members of the graduating class of 2012. It is my distinct pleasure this morning to welcome each and every one of you to CalU's 174th commencement ceremony, which is the first May commencement to be held in the new Convocation Center. As you can see, every seat is taken. I would like to begin my remarks this morning with a special thank you to the faculty members present for their hard work and dedication on behalf of our students and soon-to-be graduates. This university owes you a debt of gratitude for the unique contributions you make to the success of our graduates and for the exceptional degree of excellence that you bring to those contributions. Thank you and congratulations for producing another outstanding graduating class at California University of Pennsylvania. I will now ask the faculty members present this morning to stand and be recognized. Faculty. Thank you, thank you. CalU was founded in 1852, and 2012 marks the end of the university's first 160 years of service. We commemorated the university's sesquicentennial in 2002 with a year-long series of activities culminating with the dedication of the Michael and Julia Cara Alumni House at the front entrance of the campus. The Cara Alumni House is a tangible symbol of the great respect and admiration which CalU has for its 55,000 plus living alumni. Graduates, if you have not already done so, please visit the Cara Alumni House. It was designed and built to be the focal point for our alumni as they return to campus in the future. The Cara House has many beautiful features, all designed to say to our alumni, "You are always welcome here, no appointment necessary." From this day forward, graduates, I hope you will drop by the Cara House whenever you are in the area. I promise you will always be warmly received there. As Provost Jones mentioned, representatives from our CalU for Life office will present each graduate with a CalU Alumni Association pin as you depart the stage after receiving your diploma. I ask you to wear your pin proudly as a reminder of the mutual commitment that we call CalU for Life. We want each of you to forge a lifelong relationship with your alma mater, but it's also a two-way street. CalU will continue to serve as a resource for you even after you receive your diploma, in fact, for the rest of your life. As CalU alumni, each of you will be eligible for career services for life. Should you lose a job years from now or seek to change careers at any time in the future, our Career Services Office will be willing and eager to help you. And more than that, I personally pledge to work hard every day and to encourage every CalU employee to work hard every day to make the diploma you will receive today ever more valuable in the years ahead. That's our solemn pledge to you. CalU for Life incorporates the idea of sharing your time, talent, and treasure with your alma mater. All of you give of your time and talent now, and the treasure for most of you will come later. I can cite many examples of CalU students who have contributed their time and talent during their time here, but allow me to share the story of just one student who did so and who happens to be with us on the stage today. I would like to recognize Mr. Corey Stoner, chairperson of the 2012 Senior Class Gift Committee, for his work with the Senior Gift Drive, an initiative which will provide scholarships to CalU students indefinitely into the future, and for that reason is both a major philanthropic achievement as well as a critical, symbolic, yet public commitment to CalU for Life. Corey is a shining example of an individual who has given his time, talent, and treasure to his alma mater for the benefit of future CalU students. Corey and the many other students like him who have donated to the Senior Gift Drive are recognized by the red tassels and the graduation year 2012 affixed to their caps. To Corey and the many other wonderful students who have contributed their time, talent, and treasure to the Senior Gift Drive, I offer you my heartfelt thanks on behalf of the university for embracing CalU for Life. Now, to those students and parents or family members who would like to give right now or in the near future, all you need to do is text CalU 2012 to WHALE, which is 94253. You register and make your gift by using your Visa or MasterCard. It is very easy to do, and I made my donation a few weeks ago. We encourage you to join your fellow classmates, parents, family members, and others to give to the 2012 Senior Gift Drive. Another very important initiative began here at Cal at the start of the fall 2011 semester. As many of you know, on August 3rd, 2011, Cal U was named the world's first Franklin Covey Leadership University in recognition of its efforts to incorporate leadership principles into teaching, learning, and campus life. This designation recognizes Cal U's longtime commitment to character building and leadership training based on the 7 habits of highly effective people. With the beginning of the fall 2011 semester, the Cal U Leader for Life process began for our students. And today, I am pleased to announce that 51 of our May 2012 graduates completed the Leader for Life process prior to their graduation today. And I will now ask these students to stand and be recognized. Don't embarrass me, there are 51 of you, yes. Congratulations, Leaders for Life. We have also begun to roll out the Leader for Life process to our faculty and staff members, and at this time, I want to recognize 6 Cal U faculty members who have completed the requirements and will now be recognized publicly for the first time. I will ask our Leader for Life Fellows to stand and be recognized as I announce their names. Dr. Barbara Bonfanti, Dr. Sylvia Bradick, Dr. Elizabeth Gruber, Dr. Michael Hummel, Dr. Denise Joseph, Dr. Elizabeth Larson. Congratulations, faculty fellows. Thank you. Please know that in the near future, parents of our students will be invited to participate in this one-of-a-kind leadership initiative as well. So stay tuned for future updates on the Parent Family Portal on the Cal U website. Graduates, we have planned a magnificent celebration this morning to honor you, the members of the class of 2012. We encourage everyone here to participate fully in this celebration. You have already helped us sing the national anthem. Later in the program, we encourage you to help us sing the alma mater. You have already heard one lovely musical selection by the university choir. Later you will hear still another one. You have already heard an inspiring invocation. Later you will hear a very moving benediction. In between, we will honor each and every graduate. As you come up on stage, you will receive your real diploma, not a blank, a diploma with your name on it, the one you worked so hard to earn, the one that will hang proudly on your wall for many years to come, the one that perhaps some of your relatives weren't sure you would get in their lifetime. But this morning, you proved any skeptics wrong. I ask that you remember the university's core values: integrity, civility, responsibility. And I ask that you attempt faithfully to exemplify these core values in everything that you do, both professionally and personally. I will also remind you of the university's Bill of Rights and Responsibilities. We have the right to safety and security. We have the responsibility to ensure the safety and security of others. We have the right to be treated with respect. We have the responsibility to treat others with respect. We have the right to expect the best. We have the responsibility to give our best. We have the right to be treated fairly. We have the responsibility to treat others fairly. To you, the class of 2012, as you walk across the stage this morning to receive your diploma, you will be closing one chapter of your life's journey and opening another. That turning of the page is likely to be both exhilarating and just a little disconcerting, since we can never know what the future will bring. But one thing is certain: you will join the select group of educated and influential citizens, teachers, business leaders, scientists, scholars, and others who will build tomorrow's America and tomorrow's world. As you graduate today, you will join the 55,000 living alumni of Cal U who, since graduation, have gone on to distinguish themselves and bring credit to their families, their communities, and their university. Our alumni constitute a very accomplished group of individuals, and as you join that elite company today, I have every confidence that you will distinguish yourselves in similar fashion. Finally, this is your university. For all time to come, California University will be your alma mater. You will always be welcome here. I invite you to return often and to keep in touch with us. Be sure to let us know about your life after you leave here. Please know that your university, California University of Pennsylvania, is extremely proud of you and your accomplishments. Congratulations on your magnificent achievement. Thank you. Stay well.
I'd like to introduce Mr. Corey Stoner, class of 2012, Senior Gift Drive.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to formally present the senior class gift on behalf of all seniors who contributed to this scholarship fund. President Armenti mentioned CalU for Life, and those of us who worked on the 2012 Senior Gift Drive certainly embrace this important and daring initiative because we take seriously the lifelong relationship we want to have with our alma mater. As the student pledge of CalU for Life reads, I pledge to take full advantage of all the opportunities that California University of Pennsylvania has to offer to build both my character and my career, to become a leader for life through CalU's Leader for Life program, to give my best as a student, to uphold the core values of integrity, civility, and responsibility, to support the university's Bill of Rights and Responsibilities, to be a positive member of this university and my community, and to forge a lifelong relationship with CalU. In turn, President Armenti pledged to have CalU provide numerous opportunities to build your character as well as your career, to help you develop civic engagement and leadership skills through the CalU Leader for Life program, to instill in you a justified Vulcan pride in the accomplishments of this institution, founded in 1852, to have CalU provide you continuing support and a lifelong welcome, beginning from your first day and continuing through your alumni years to strive to make your university diploma ever more valuable as the years come and go, and in that way to earn a lifelong relationship with you. President Armenti, on behalf of the May graduates of the class of 2012 and the many generous families who recognized the efforts of their students and contributed a matching gift, I am pleased to present this check to you in the amount of $8,024.12 as a token of our pledge to have a lifelong relationship with our alma mater, California University of Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Corey and the class of 2012, on behalf of California University of Pennsylvania and the students we serve, I thank you for this generous donation, which will directly benefit our deserving students. In recognition of your generosity, my wife Barbara and I will match $1 for each student and $2 for each parent or family donor. Thank you all for your generosity to our students.
At this time, it is my pleasure to read the official citation approved by the Council of Trustees for Mrs. Muriel Summers. Whereas Mrs. Muriel T. Summers has dedicated her life as an educator and academic leader, and whereas Mrs. Summers has served children in the community as principal at A.B. Combs Leadership Magnet Elementary School in Raleigh, North Carolina, and whereas Ms. Summers has distinguished herself as a true champion of students and their abilities by building on student strengths and leadership skills and developing the whole child, socially, emotionally, academically, and ethically by integrating Covey principles. And whereas our association with Ms. Summers and the children of A.B. Combs Elementary Leadership Magnet School has greatly enriched our own university community by showing how Covey principles can also enrich the lives and leadership skills of university students. And whereas Ms. Summers has set an outstanding example of the power of Covey principle-based education by being the first to achieve Lighthouse status for a leadership elementary school, the A.B. Combs Elementary Magnet School in Raleigh, North Carolina, as well as being named a National School of Character, one of 10 schools across the United States to receive this prestigious award. And whereas Ms. Summers' efforts to improve public education, beginning many years ago and stretching to the present, speak volumes about her dedication and commitment to young people, as well as to the common good of all those with whom she comes in contact. And whereas through her work, Ms. Summers is a shining example of California University of Pennsylvania's core values of integrity, civility, and responsibility. And whereas Ms. Summers has earned a reputation for outstanding leadership, incomparable student success, and principle-centered learning. And whereas it is our hope that this honorary doctoral degree will serve as a reminder to all that California University of Pennsylvania truly appreciates Ms. Summers' pioneering work on behalf of the children of the world, and in the inspiring other educators to see the potential of her leadership model in a university setting. Now therefore, it be resolved that California University of Pennsylvania bestow upon Muriel T. Summers the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, for her commitment to education and to students, her numerous accomplishments and distinguished service as a professional in the education field, and her unswerving commitment to her profession, students, community, and fellow human beings. Accordingly, with the approval of the California University, Pennsylvania of Trustees, President Angelo Armenti Jr. will now confer upon Ms. Muriel T. Summers the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Stand right there. Okay. There we go. Don't do this without knocking your hat off. Yeah. And the diploma.
Yes. Thank you so much.
That is your new diploma. That makes you an alumna. It's not official yet. By the power vested in me by the Board of Governors of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, I hereby confer upon Muriel T. Summers the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, honors, and privileges which throughout the world pertain to that degree. Congratulations, Doctor. Now give me.
Thank you.
All right.
Wow. Provost Jones, President Armenti, Council of Trustees, honored platform guest, distinguished faculty and staff, proud parents, and accomplished graduates. Thank you for the honor you have bestowed upon me today. I am so humbled, so appreciative, and so deeply moved by this recognition. I especially want to thank Dr. Armenti for modeling for all of us what extraordinary leadership is all about. His vision and passion for excellence are unmatched. His tireless efforts to lead the charge for Cal U to be a world-class university, have indeed become a reality. I would like to ask your indulgence as I thank my two precious children, Banks and Colin, who are here with me today. Thank you for being my heart, my soul, and my constant source of inspiration. I am so proud to be your mother. I have abundant respect, admiration, and affection for California University, a university whose mission, building character, building careers, embodies everything that is good and right in higher education. As Dr. Amenti said, this past August, the university was named the world's first Franklin Covey Leadership University in recognition of its efforts to incorporate leadership principles into teaching, learning, and campus life. Because of CalU's emphasis on leadership development, this university is blazing the trail and changing the face of higher education, much in the same way that our little school in Raleigh, North Carolina, is changing the face of elementary education around the world. On behalf of the students and staff of A.B. Combs Elementary, we are so honored to partner you in our shared quest and passion to nurture the global leaders of tomorrow. Graduates, today you will leave this university with a diploma, a certificate that informs the world that you have acquired the necessary mindset and skill set to lead and serve in your chosen fields. You have, no doubt, worked extremely hard to reach this very important mile marker in your journey. And I would hope that many of you have found your voice, your life's calling along the way. I challenge you to lead your life from this moment forward in the way in which you would like to be remembered 5 years, 10 years, 60 years from now. Think about the legacy you want to leave. Live with love, abundance, passion, citizenship, courage, truth, honesty, and integrity. Your future success and fulfillment, professionally and personally, will largely be determined by the next diploma you choose to receive. This diploma, which I like to call the Diploma of the Heart, is equally as important as the one you are receiving today. It is deeply rooted in service, compassion, leadership, forgiveness, love, understanding, and tolerance. You will earn this diploma on your own, one day at a time, for the rest of your life. Make up your mind now that you will make a difference in this world by leading with your heart, mind, and soul. Follow your dreams. Remember that no one defines you but you. Realize that failures are only detours to success. Listen to life's whispers and ask yourself often, what is life asking of me? I congratulate you. I commend you. I affirm all that you are, but more importantly, all that you will become. I wish you much success and happiness. I am so honored to be one of you.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce today's guest speaker, Major General Donna Barbish, class of 1984. Major General Donna Barbish is among the foremost subject matter experts in emergency preparedness and building resiliency for catastrophic disasters, terrorism, and unconventional threats. Major General Barbish has a proven track record as a national security policy analyst, a healthcare management professional, a professor, and an exemplary leader with command and management experience. Her background includes major successes in the private sector, the United States governmental organizations, and the international community. A dynamic speaker who moves people to action, she retired from the Army in 2005 as a Major General. Major General Barbish began her military career in the Army Student Nurse Program and rose through the ranks in a multitude of active duty and reserve assignments from Vietnam to the Pentagon. Her final military assignment was as Director of Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Program Integration for the Office of the Secretary of Defense. Today, Major General Barbish is president of Global Deterrence Alternatives, a consulting firm focused on developing creative solutions to emerging threats. She is a distinguished fellow at George Mason University's Center for Infrastructure Protection and Homeland Security, a senior policy advisor for the Center for Disaster Medicine Services at the University of California, Irvine, and on the Associate Advisory Board of the AMA Journal of Disaster Medicine and Public Health Preparedness. She is honored to serve on the board of presidential advisors at CalU. Prior to her earning her bachelor's degree from California University of Pennsylvania, Major General Barbish earned a nursing diploma from Columbia Hospital in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and as an anesthesia diploma from Mercy Hospital, also in Pittsburgh. She holds a master's degree in public health from the University of North Carolina and a doctorate in health administration from the Medical University of South Carolina. Please join me in welcoming Major General Barbish.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Provost Jones. President Armenti, members of the faculty, Board of Trustees, distinguished guests, proud parents, family members, and friends, and above all, the 2012 graduates of California University of Pennsylvania. You did it. You did it after a lot of hard work and a lot of tears, and although some people thought you couldn't do it, you believed in yourself and you did it. In just a little while, you're going to walk across the stage here and you will become graduates. Now, it's a real honor to be here, although I was reminded that there's some things in common between a graduation speaker and the deceased at an Irish funeral. I'm here for the party, but you don't want me to say much. Now, when I was sitting where you're sitting, I don't think I could have imagined that sometime 10, 20, close to 30 years from now, I'd be up here. So maybe some of you ought to be thinking about that, because we're going to be watching and waiting. Back then, things were a little different. The average income was $21,600 a year. Gasoline was $1.20 a gallon. We didn't have cell phones or iPhones, iPads, flat screen TVs. Back then, things were different. And a lot of things that you're going to accomplish haven't been discovered yet. You're going to be part of that discovery. Look at this campus. I can tell you when I sat there, I didn't expect anything like this. You did a great job. But the more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm a Cal U alum. What started here for me is starting for you now. You will carry it with you your entire life. Commencement is just the beginning. New dreams, new goals, how you're going to get there, what you're going to do, how you're going to achieve what it is you're after when you're not quite sure what that is. I started here as a non-traditional student. I had had a successful nursing career, a military career, and a family. I was a farmer's wife, and a mother. And I want to tell you that those experiences helped to shape me, but Cal U brought it together. Now, I joined the military because I thought nursing our soldiers was a higher calling. I know we just promoted some folks out there. Congratulations to all of you. And to the veterans in the room, I applaud you and I thank you for your service. But I wanted more. I wanted that piece of paper. I wanted that validation. Cal U gave me that. What I found was a confirmation of my ability to really do something more. I was challenged, a bit of hard work out there, don't you agree? But it was all worth it. The ultimate payoff was that I became aware of my potential to do more. I also learned, as some of you may, that failure was not an option. You are graduating. Failure is not an option. Take that with you. So where do you go from here? Dreams, vision. You may not know where you're going next, but never stop working to improve. After my graduation, I started seeking more responsibility, became a manager, moved on with further education, became a faculty member. The military gave me a lot of opportunities as well. I became the first nurse who ever commanded a mobile Army surgical hospital, a MASH. Yes, it was an achievement, but I want to tell you that what we do paves the way for others because the Army just promoted a nurse to the Army Surgeon General, a 3-star position, the first in history. So it's our job to pave the way for others. On the civilian side, in my personal life, I became the PTA president. That was quite an achievement. I wanted to be the member of the school board, but the folks at McGuffey didn't see my potential. I wonder if they know what they missed. But let's fast forward. I had a lot of successes out there, and I think there's a lot of successes out there for you. My business developed into one of combating terrorism. I dealt with a lot of planning. We did some work with New York City, and we're commended that the work we did actually helped New York on 9/11. On that day, I was in Turkey teaching anti-terrorism assistance to the Turkish military. I've dealt with some disasters, pandemics, and planning for all sorts of pretty catastrophic events. So I've covered a lot of territory. But I am just one of many Cal U grads. We have notable Cal U grads, CEOs, executive vice presidents, entertainers, sports figures, authors, and one of my colleagues who's a Secret Service agent who protected a number of our presidents. And of course, we have some generals out there. But more importantly than those attributes are a life of great meaning and purpose. Lifelong contributions are the foundation of who we are. Cal U grads are community leaders, bankers, entrepreneurs, and even more. Responsible parents, something that is very basic. A quote that resonates with me is something that was said by a prominent Pittsburgher: "To do a common thing uncommonly well brings success." That was said by H.J. Heinz. Now I want to tell you, I've been all over the world. Last month in London, earlier this year in Taiwan, and there was Heinz ketchup. So I want to challenge you, find your ketchup. Do that common thing uncommonly well and make your place on this earth. My parting advice to you: dream big. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. You're Cal U grads, you have the foundation. Dream big. Learn from everybody. Everybody out there has something to teach us. And we can learn from everyone and everything we do. But the rubber meets the road when it comes to doing. Sometimes you just have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on. When you're out there looking for a job, if you haven't found the right job yet, it's a job itself to find a job. You can do it. Don't get discouraged. Your perfect job is out there. And you know, the more you keep doing, the more you become that person you want to be. Believe in yourself. Don't take no for an answer. And remember, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. You've come a long way on this journey of yours, but the fun has just begun. As you walk across the stage today, celebrate your success. Tomorrow, your adventure begins. You are our future, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
The University Choir will now present another selection for your listening enjoyment. I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner, soloist Molly Milady.
Time to think things over. I better read between the lines in case I need it when I'm older. In my life, there's been heartache and pain. I don't know if I can face it again. Change this lonely life.
Presenting the candidates from the College of Education and Human Services for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Education, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Social Work is Dr. Kevin Corey, Dean of the College.
The candidates from the College of Education and Human Services will rise, please. Mr. President, the following persons have completed all the requirements, have been approved by the faculty, and are presented for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Education. Ryan Allen Aliardi. Lisa Marie Allen. Christina Susan Ematangelo. Lee Anthony Amadei. Megan Elizabeth Amadei. Heather L. Andaloro. Brittany Nicole Arnold. Michael K. Ballone. Megan Lynn Barney. Ashley Boughton. Jillian Lee Brazo. Megan Lee Broman. Nicole Brocker. Holly Elizabeth Brown. Melanie Busey. Teresa L. Bush. Sunny Lee Cairns. Jody H. Calloway. Lauren Ashley Camo. Drew Francis Civis. Vincent Anthony Corrado. Candace Brooke Croner. Rachel Nicole Crosby. Zachary Allen Boyer. Rachel M. Kustra. Derice Marie Danch. Laura R. Davis. Nicole Lee Decker. Jacob Stewart DeWoody. Stephanie Nicole Diamond. Carly Nicole DeFonso. Gianna Marie Dino. Emily Rose Dolph. Ashley M. Dahl. Samantha Lynn Dupain. Jordan Michael Englert. Brittany M. Ennis. Matthew J. Urkel. Callie Frances Elise Farabee. Margaret Joyce Fike. Hannah Elizabeth Fitch. Ryan R. Garasich. Sean Paul Garbera. Jessica R. Garrett. Joshua E. Gates. Catherine Ann Gilani. Kevin J. Gemitter. Stephanie Ann Good. Christina Marie Goodlin. Sarah L. Harrington. Amy Alyssa Hazlett. Kristen Renee Holloman. Joshua James Homzak. Brianna L. Hoover. Jessica Lynn Hudick. Krista M. Hughes. Rachel L. Johnson. Jennifer Gail Kilmer. Jessica Dawn Kilpatrick. Elizabeth Ashley Close. Brianna Christine Koenig. Elena Marie Lacey. Samantha L. Long. Renata Lorraine Martin. Richard A. Martz, Jr. Christine Marie McCann. Marie McIntyre. Bryce Robert McVicker. Rachel M. Merlot. Holly Nicole Montgomery. Erica Nicole Muraka. Lindsay Marie Murphy. Jeremy J. Nacarado. Sarah Marie Newmeyer. Brian Michael Nicholas. Alyssa Sue Noble. Kathleen Francis Knoll. Christopher Michael Olson. Kristen Kathleen Orett. Brian Richard Pesavento. David J. Poor. Ryan Austin Reagan. Sarah E. Roberts. Lauren Lee Satifka. Nicholas Paul Shanneman. Luke A. Schriefer. Callie L. Schroyer. Jason Michael Schwartz. Dane Michael Skomsky. Jordan Travis Sleesman. Megan L. Smosna. Gregory Scott Sovek. Amy Rose Steele. Randy Edward Stover. Gregory E.J. Wohar. Kelsey L. Strelick. Chad J. Suckup. Carly Nicole Swank. Angelica M. Taggart. Elizabeth Ann Tharp. Robert Patrick Thomas. Elizabeth Catherine Teaberry. Ryan William Trackmus. Sarah Ann Trasp. Luke John Trocchio. Mary Ventrone. Lacey Lynn Wagner. Lindsay K. Walker. Charlotte Brooke Watercott. Dana R. Weimer. Chester B. Welk. Stephanie Rose Wary. Alexander Gabriel Whittington. Carl Woodman Wright. Robert A. Zazak III. Caitlin Bryn Ziegler. Charles M. Zielinski. Aaron Thomas Zimmerman. Mr. President, the following persons have completed all the requirements, have been approved by the faculty, and are presented for the degree of Bachelor of Science. Joseph Patrick DeAria. Katarina E. Albert. Ashley Marie Ammon. Jordan Lane Anderson. Paige Lee Anderson. Alexandria Arnold. Alicia May Basinger. Laura Suzanne Beach. Kimberly Ann Becker. Adriana Rose Bellich. Amanda Jean Bellisario. Kyle G. Bennett. Edward Eugene Daniel Bradley. Karen Stephanie Brown. Antoine Lee Count Buggs. Benjamin Jacob Busby. Kristen Dalla Calabrese. Amanda Catherine Casper. Brittany Danielle Camo. Barbara K. Hoffman-Christoph, Rebecca Morrison Clark, Shelley Renee Clark, Erica J. Clausen, William Clayton Collins, Chad Ryan Connolly, Samantha Nicole Cornetta, Lisa Ann Crago, Ryan Thomas Craze, Brittany Ann Krieger, Whitney Janelle Custer, Marissa Candace Amanda Daly, Gina Ann D'Amico, Catherine E. Deverts, Sarah Melinda DiBenedetto, Matthew G. Dipiatic, Tierra Lavana Elmore, Valerie Joan Emmett, Sandra Lynn Estep, Elizabeth J. Follert, Brittany A. Ferguson, Alexandra L. Fanick, Christine Marie Foltz, Kelly Renee Fromnecht, Kendall L. Gayland, Gregory Michael Gerace Jr., Nicholas Joseph Giansante, Joshua Robert Griffin, Irvin Gosto, Courtney D. Gray, Allie Marie Groover, Mary Lavinia Harper Yancey, Ashley E. Heller, Adam Joseph Hoth, Aaron Scott James, Justin Michael James, Timothy H. Johnson, Christina Ann Jonas, Jenna Marie Kemmerly, Andrea M. King, Courtney L. Klein, Kayla N. Kavinka, Levi A. LaFleur, Stephen Anthony LeBate, Rochelle Danae Lashley, Joseph Samuel Lee, Caitlin M. Lemley, Karen Annette Lennox, Emily A. Leppo, Melissa J. Lorenzi, Shakira L. Love, Mallory Marie McLaughlin, Theodore J. Maloney, Rachel Corey Marai. Brian Joseph Markowitz. Michael C. McCarney. Sarah Lynn McMullen. Michael Dominic Mendolia. Marlena R. Metz. Stephanie K. Miller. Rachel E. Morehouse. Janelle Lynn Nace. Brandy N. Nichols Bay. Brenna Marie Nowak. Catherine M. O'Reilly. Brianna Marie Orndorff. Jacob Dennis Palo. Keith T. Panich. Kelly N. Patterson. Erica J. Peavy. Tamar Leah Perry. Courtney Lynn Pindrock. Jason T. Pearl. Sean Fitz Randolph. Shane E. Ratcliffe. Alexis M. Rennie. Jessica A. Rhodes. Dolly Angeline Ring. Brittany L. Skagline. Ashley R. Short. Caitlin Elizabeth Sipple. Jerica Lynn Snedden. Brenda Diane Staley. John Paul Starseski. Corey Adam Steinhagen. Brittany L. Stewart. Austin F. Stoddard. Brittany Lynn Sullivan. Angela Marie Rohde. Andrew James Schwartz. Aaron Thomas Zaffron. Natalie Ann Taylor Gordon. Teresa Marie Thomas. Jennifer L. Tichnell. Chad J. Tipton. Daniel R. Tonini. Regis William Visconti, Jr. Joshua W. Werner. Jason Andrew West. Colleen F. Wilcox. Kelly E. Williams. Vincent Alexander Wilson. Channing Weimer. Melanie Harbor Winchester. Shannon Wolslager. Andrew James Wood. Ashley Nicole Yensick. Kristen Michelle Zipnock. Mr. President, the following persons have completed all the requirements, have been approved by the faculty, and are presented for the degree of Bachelor of Social Work. Katie Lee Baker. Joshua Paul Barnhart. Danielle Elizabeth Carolla. Laverne C. Conley. Elizabeth M. Gordon. Emily Alexandra Gribben. Victoria Mary Hartman. Felicia N. Hunter. Laura Marie Kreis. Jessica Lynn Pugh. Moralise F. Saught. Venetia Shanice Scales. Charles R. Sledge III. Melanie Lene Smith. Hannah Marie Yager. Roxanne Zaretich. Mr. President, several candidates have asked to graduate in absentia. Please check the commencement program for a list of their names. The candidates from the College of Education and Human Services will be seated, please.
Presenting the candidates from the College of Liberal Arts for the degrees of Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and the Bachelor of Arts is Dr. Mohammed Yamba, Interim Dean of the College.
The degree candidates from the College of Liberal Arts will rise, please. Mr. President, the following persons have completed all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Science, have been approved by the faculty, and are presented for that degree. Stephanie Eduse. Scott M. Arthur. Caitlin Marie Bear. Henry Walter Beecher III. Joshua C. Black. Jennifer Marie Bracken. Samantha Brewer. Morgan A. Bright. Gregory Scott William Bryant. Stephanie Lynn Busick. Ethan Allen Klein. William F. Cornell. Vincent Michael Conti. Carissa A. Corish. Christy Marie D'Angelo. Zachary Daly. Levi F. Daniels. Justin DeFerrio. Michael Del Rey. Dylan F. Di Domenico. Anna Dugas. Christina M. Edling. Catherine L. Fake. Chase Joseph Frederick. Second Lieutenant Joseph Michael Friedman. Jeffrey Daniel Fultz. Patrick M. Gannon. Yancy T. Goshon. Josh L. Gumbert. Troy Hanser. Amanda Marion Harselman. Gina Marie Havelka. Chelsea L. Hill. Hannah L. Holchin. Brandon S. Hof. Michelle E. Hunchuk. Kayla Grace Jakimowski. Brandon Tyler Johnson. Kylie Lynn Joyce. Michael Robert Kalas. Catherine Kaminsky. Scott M. Knotts. Michael R. Kasula Jr. Caitlin S. Kelly. Mason Aaron Keys. Konstantin Kolinsa. Adam Corona. Ronald C. Kramer Jr. Nicholas Patrick Lamotte. Brian Dominic Ledes. Leah Joseph Lopez. Alisa J. Martinez. Elizabeth A. Milton. Candice J. Moreau. Zachary Alan Pappas. Luke Richard Passerotti. Brooke Lenora Patterson. Stephen Jeffrey Poorbaugh. Tyler D. Rawl. Joshua A. Roberts, Nicholas J. Roman, Dwayne Dante Rolett, Gillian Russell, Caitlin Ryan, Erkan Salhi, Joseph Basilio Sapienza III, Matthew A. Scott, Justin R. Schaefer, Thomas P. Sabasinski, Scott Spindler, Kara Ray Stifler, Corey Stoner, Nathaniel Taylor, Noah Benjamin Taylor, Benjamin Wright Thorne, Brittany Elise Trainer, Marie Elizabeth Turnbull, Ian Weger, Elisa Danine Wyman, Kalyani Victoria Whitaker, Alisa Marie Williams, John Phillips Williams, Mr. President, the following persons have completed all the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Fine Arts, have been approved by the faculty, and are presented for that degree. Benjamin Lee Eisman, Courtney Page Eichelman, Alexandria Jane Haugard, Mr. President, the following persons have completed all requirements for the degree Bachelor of Arts, have been approved by the faculty, and are presented for that degree. Tamara Aref Alcata, Ashley June Marie Anderson, Zachary Thomas Anderson, Cody M. Andrews, Erica N. Andrea, Alisa Martha Ashton, Justin Atkinson, Brianna Nicole Azadi, Carrie Marie Banner, Rudolph Frank Barsis III, Madeline Christine Becker, Chris Ann Bober, Hannah Lynn Bojovic, Michael Anthony Bonanno, Taylor Maxine Berletich, Anthony Michael Cancela, Justin Matthew Carlo, Elizabeth Hope Carson, Courtney R. Chasko, Jennifer E. Sherop, Courtney Elizabeth Cochran, Brianna M. Coleman, Rachel L. Colson, Tammy Bernice Kopshel Beach, Jessica M. Koser, Kelsey Elaine Craig, Gerard Jude Cipher, Diane Caitlin Sawinski, Linda M. Dancy Victus, Kelly Lane Darragh, Larry David Davis, Christy Lee Dean, Nathaniel W. Dixon, Alicia B. Donnelly, Jessica Dugan, Michael Joseph Dugan, Stephen Matthew Eckenrode, Cody James Elias, Thomas Michael Earhart Jr., Chelsea L. Ferreira, Tara Caitlin Friel, Jeremy P. Gordon, Kara Gillespie, Cassandra Lynn Glavicki, Melanie Rebecca Goldstein, Nicole Danielle Griffith, Stephanie Marie Habe, Maria R. Hame, Michael Scott Haney, John Harbert, Simone Lynn Hardy, Jamise L. Hawkins, Maria Herrera, Ryan Hill, Rebecca H. Huckendona, Christian Ian Hode, Blair Lynn Holmes, Justin David Herrera, Jessica Isley, Noel Antonio Bijon Jenkins, Jonathan M. Jordan, Janine Latrice Johnson, Katie Margaret Johnson, Crystal Renee Johnson, Lauren Johnson, Steffi J. Jordan, David Martin Kalatshaw, Alyssa Nicole Karafelis, Aaron Kearns, Danielle Renee Kennedy, Veronica E. Kirkus, Marisa Lane Kesnor, Lindsay Kathleen King, Kayla Rose Klimasko, Kirsten Kreutzer, Aubrey Lane Kyler, Laura Catherine Loughlin, Shauna Nicole Lawson, Chelsea Leber, Heather C. Manke, Mark Kevin Mansour, Robert Jacob Maroney, Lena Marie Matthew, Jamie Lane McComb, Jonathan Anthony McGee, Kristen N. Mackenzie, Chelsea Lane McMasters, David McVicker, Brianne Nicole Mihalko, Rachel Caitlin Michaels, Jacob L. Miliron, Ryan Morgan Minitello, Gabrielle Marie Mersota, Alicia Jane Moore, Jacqueline M. Murphy, Mark Merman, Maxine Letitia Nyberg, Marcy Dale Newbert, Yvonne Jean M. Novotny, Stephen Robert Obeli III, Mariah P. O'Connor, Sarah Orletsky, Marciel Palmer, Caitlin May Prasinski, Taylor Lynette Pinkston, Amber Marie Preston, Anthony Theodore Rego, Endicott L. Randall, Catherine Elizabeth Rogers. Hold. Daniel L. Rent, Alison Nicole Roth, Sean Michael Rothhar, Antoinette M. Salyer, Rachel M. Sanschagrin, Michelle Margaret Shepotnik, Dennis Lee Civic, John Anthony Shermenti, Rebecca M. Skerpen, Stephen James Singer, Shauna Smith, Morgan Smith, Javier Ignacio Solis, Joshua S. Solomon, Jesse T. Summers, Chelsea Ray Span, Michael G. Stertor, Laurie Stiles, Haley Lynn Strausser, Matthew J. Stump, Drevon Allen Taylor, Jamila Taylor, Kyle Thomas, Samantha K. Tornblum, Paul Joseph Turano, Catherine Claire Arcidi, Charis Nicole Varga, Anna Karen Villa-Gomez, Gabriela Villa-Gomez, Lauren Nicole Vitt, Courtney Lee Walker, Amber Lee Walters, Justin Andrew Zboda, Amanda Lauren Weaver, Kathleen M. White, Rebecca Kathleen Whale, Jordan Williams, Michael W. Zila Jr., Mr. President, several candidates have asked to graduate in absentia. Please check the commencement program for a list of their names. The degree candidates from the College of Liberal Arts will be seated, please.
Presenting the candidates from the Everly College of Science and Technology for the degrees of Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Arts, Science in Nursing, Associate of Applied Science, Associate of Arts, and the Associate of Science is Dr. Leonard Kaleli, Dean of the College.
Bachelor's degree candidates from the Everly College of Science and Technology and all associate degree candidates will rise, please. Mr. President, the following persons have completed all of the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Science, have been approved by the faculty, and are presented for that degree. Jeffrey Michael Ambrose. Paul Ryan Babashanian. Jessica L. Baboni. Matthew R. Baird. Paige Ashley Barone. Jessica Annette Barton. Maria Elisa Batacci. Elizabeth Ann Bauscher. Eric Robert Beamisdorfer. Christopher M. Bellotti. Daniel Anthony Burdine. Carrie Betham. John Robert Belosky. Nicole L. Billy. Thomas Allen Billot. Carly Amanda Bichura. Brandon R. Bonar. Kyle Daniel Bowser. Justin Patrick Boyle. Jonathan Daniel Briggs. Michael R. Butchie. David Paul Budavich. Patrick Aaron Buno. Samantha Christine Burney. Fiona S. Butler. Brian David Camps. William Stephen Cannon. Kara Aileen Corrali. Tyler Wade Carpenter. Stephanie Marie Carlson. Stephen R. Carlson. Richard John Solofsky. Ashley B. Chapman. Michael David Camille, Jr. Christopher Allen Clements. Justin Wayne Kleitz. Greg K. Cochran. Erica Nicole Coffey. Sharon Lanice Cole. Aaron Byron Connor. Irene T. Cox. Garrick Warren Dalm. Torrin Brandon Davis. Carla Deneen Delgado. Beth Ann M. Delmer. David Joseph DeMarco. Amy Lynn DuPont. Brett David Diamond. Bradley Michael DePaula. Casey Nolan Durham. Andrea Enosh. Carly Elizabeth Easlep. Carmen Tyler Esep. Ashley Nicole Farrar. Ashley Elizabeth Fisher. Kelsey Marie Fisher. Erin Lynn Fitzpatrick. Cody Ryan Foster. Lauren Marie Fanari. Jessica Lorraine Gailey. Melissa C. Gates. Michelle M. Gall. Natalie Marie Gephardt. Jacob Landis Glessner. Bethany Nicole Godra. Katie Lynn Green. Frank Xavier Gruber. See your number? Travis G. Haberjack. Alyssa Marie Heights. Jamie Lynn Harding. Autumn Ann Harris. William Blaine Helmick II. Miranda Lynn Hoyt. Jesse Lee Hubner. Brandon Anthony Jeanette. Nicole C. Jenkins. Allison Renee Johnson. Christian Nathaniel Johnson. Laura Noel Kiblin. Scott Richard King. Kara Lee Kitchen. Stephen T. Clammer. Bradley Allen Klein. Peter Joseph Catula. Benjamin Martin Kramer. Brian J. Kurzik. Timothy Martin Lammers. Joshua Michael Leska. Christina L. Lawrence. Devin Jacob Lawrence. Jordan Lynn Badillion Lawrence. Nicholas T. Lesko II. Philip Michael Lober. Ian David Lonich. Christopher Michael Lopez. Kyle Allen Love. Danielle Gwendolyn Paula Luckett. Amanda Marie Malakarni. Jude Mansour. Laurel Mashalik. Catherine Ashley Matheson. Aaron James McFadden. Sierra Renee Meza. Stephen Andrew Michael. Christopher Alex Mills. Daniel David Miner. Reagan Nicole Marl. Matthew Adam Motter. Caitlin Brianna Murphy. Bryce Jordan Myers. Tiffany Jean Nath. Samantha Ann Nemel. Nicholas Kenny Noah. Jonathan Russell O'Brien. Lauren Sarah O'Toole. Ijoma Ngozishuku Obarika. Kristen Marie Oakes. Mariana Mazzulli Fiuza de Oliveira. Jennifer Joanne Paradise. Troy Vincent Peterson. Melissa Lynn Poland. Carrie Udine Pollock. Travis Alexander Proden. Alexander Paul Prushnik. Tyler Andrew Regaler. Richard A. Relaford Burns IV. Patrice Jacqueline Reish. Michael John Rhodes. Lindsay Lauren Rice. Zachary Stephen Ricketts. Jennifer M. Ridge. Kirsten Bailey Ringler. Brianna H. Robinson. Robert M. Roche. Christopher Daniel Roxby. Adine Shabich. Mitchell R. Sapolio. Jennifer Lee Sasko. Rachel Nicole Schleicher. Heather Diane School. Benjamin Landis Schaefer. Justin D. Schaefer. Lee Nicole Sharat. Stephanie Ann Schumar. Patrick L. Slapo. Courtney Lynn Smay. John Edward Smirkle. Nathan S. Smith. Dustin Allen Snare. Carly Joe Snyder. Cody James Snyder. Ryan Richard Soborowski. Gregory Dale Sobel. Michael Anthony Spavelko Jr. Christina Marie Stair. Franziska Steinhardt, Jonathan Calvin Stewart, Stephanie Ann Stotka, Corey S. Strennan, Shahul Kamal Souley, Daniel Jeffrey Swartz, Kimberly Dawn Torettiano, Andrew James Tintori, Andrew George Tomsick, Matthew William Tomlinson, Christina Marie Toth, Eric Ronald Trosh, Kevin Truman, Michael Anthony Tuma, Stephen Christopher Turkovich, Brian Edward Turner, Daniel Thomas Turner, Michael Andrew Upham, Matthew Ryan Volusic, Erica Lynn Varner, Brian Robert Verney, Annetta Doree Walker, Chelsea Lynn Walker, Christine Nicole Wallace Jolly, Brittany Renee Watkins, Madeline Dawn Weaver, Matthew Robert Wise, Caitlin Michelle Welsh, Stephen Michael Welsh, Jude Anthony Winerick, Christy Nicole Wetzel Bennick, Jennifer Lynn White, Lucy Rose Wiley, Chad Matthew Will, Matthew Craig Witt, Ashley E. Wolf, Nathan Andrew Wright, Devin Ray Yardy, Melissa Ann Yingling, Kelly Elizabeth Zimzek, Mr. President, the following persons have completed all of the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Arts, have been approved by the faculty, and are presented for that degree. Joshua Wayne Alderson, Ashley Ann Antoniak, William J. Chamberlain, Philip Matthew Corey, Lena Louise Danka, Brittany Ann Dawkins, Ryan David Dolan, Vicki Ann Donikoski, Leandra Ray Ekman, Shannon Danielle Hall. Christina Elizabeth Lipke. Jennifer M. Murphy. Edward E. Page III. Travis J. Peterson. Brendan Alex Rusbatch. Frederick Lee Smith III. Second Lieutenant Benjamin Lee Snyder. Timothy James Swango. Mr. President, the following persons have completed all of the requirements for the degree Bachelor of Science in Nursing have been approved by the faculty and are presented for that degree. Jacqueline Margaret Bonu. Elnora LaShawn Bassel. Heather Marie Carter. Kristen Sinker. Katie Christine Dawson. Anita M. Doyle. James William Duffy Jr. Brittany Lee Feather. Alyssa Marie Ford. Jade Nicole Garth. Bernadette Garand. Joanne Chicky Griffin. Sharon M. Grisbowski. Terry Ann Gustus. Stacy A. Hoffman. Michelle Ann Huber. Dean Peter Huvey. Sarah Marie Kallick. Natalia Y. Kazeva. Julie Elaine Cromer. John Lee. Shannon P. Meckler. Monica A. Mitchell. Danielle Lynn Patterson. Joy Faith Payne. Janie Lim Pellegrini. Mandy Marie Proud. Ashley Marie Ravetta. Veronica Jane Scholarett. Jennifer Blackhurst Shields. Teresa Ellen Stein. Casey Morgan Taylor. Jeffrey Lee Thayer. Jasmine L. Toney. Elizabeth Ann Behaley. Dawn M. Weinhofer. Mr. President, the following persons have completed all of the requirements for the degrees Associate of Science, Associate of Applied Science, and Associate of Arts have been approved by the faculty and are presented for those degrees. Sarah E. Klister, Derek R. Colgan, Amanda Elizabeth Combs, Megan J. Frank, Hannah C. Frankhauser, Joseph Gill, Candy Lynn Hooder, Terry L. Hughes, Shannon Marie Lieb, Lauren Mottery, Stevania Nicole Morris, Katie Seagriff, Megan Danielle Sheets, Jessica Ann Saforic, Robert W. Weigel, Mary Cohen Wilkes, Rachel Warmlinger, Mr. President, several candidates have asked to graduate in absentia. Please check the commencement program for a list of their names. The candidates from the Eberly College of Science and Technology and all associate degree candidates will be seated, please.
Ready? Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Education, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Social Work, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science in Nursing rise, please?
Mr. President, the candidates who have been presented to you have been certified by the faculty and the respective deans as having fulfilled all the requirements for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Education, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Social Work, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Arts, and Bachelor of Science in Nursing. I recommend that degrees be conferred.
By the power vested in me by the Board of Governors of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, I hereby confer the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Education, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Social Work, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Arts, and Bachelor of Science in Nursing with all the rights, honors, and privileges which throughout the world pertain to that degree. You may now move your tassels right to left. Bachelor's graduates, be seated, please. Will the candidates for the degrees of Associate of Applied Science, Associate of Arts, and Associate of Science rise, please?
Mr. President, the candidates who have been presented to you have been certified by the faculty and the respective deans as having fulfilled all the requirements for the degrees of Associate of Applied Science, Associate of Arts, and Associate of Science. I recommend that the degrees be conferred.
By the power vested in me by the Board of Governors of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, I hereby confer the degrees of Associate of Applied Science, Associate of Arts, and Associate of Science with all the rights, honors, and privileges which throughout the world pertain to that degree. Associate degree graduates, be seated, please. The following 4 students in attendance today have successfully completed a minimum of 90 credits at CalU with a quality point average of 4.0 on a 4.0 scale. I'm going to ask them to stand as their name is called. Hold your applause. There are 4 of them. Doris Marie Danch, Timothy Martin Lammers, Jennifer M. Murphy, Benjamin Lee Snyder. There were 11 students here today who received not 1, but 2 degrees. I'm going to ask them to stand as their names are called, but please hold your applause to the end. William Stephen Cannon, B.S. Technology Management, Associate in Industrial Tech. Aaron Byron Connor, Bachelor of Science, Electrical Engineering Technology, Associate of Science, Computer Engineering Technology. Doris Marie Danch, Bachelor of Science in Education, Bachelor of Arts, Mathematics. Brandon Isaac Gray, Bachelor of Science in Education, in Technology Education, Bachelor of Arts, Physics. Laura Noel Kiblin, Bachelor of Arts, English, Bachelor of Science, Environmental Studies. Jennifer M. Murphy, Bachelor of Science in Education, Bachelor of Arts, Mathematics. Robert M. Roche, Bachelor of Science, Technology Management, Associate of Science. Shehu Kamal Sule, Bachelor of Science, Technology Management, Associate of Science, Industrial Technology. Brian Robert Verney, Bachelor of Science, Technology Management, Associate of Science, Industrial Technology. Caitlin Michelle Welsh, Bachelor of Science, Earth Science, Bachelor of Arts, Geography, and Dr. Gregory E.J. Wohar, Bachelor of Science in Education and Bachelor of Science, Biology. Let's hear it for the dual degree recipients. I want to acknowledge 2 students, Charisse Nicole Varga, who just received her Bachelor of Arts degree, and Jacob Lee Milleron, who also received his Bachelor of Arts degree. They are the first 2 students to complete the new Arabic Language and Culture Certificate at CalU. Please stand up, Charisse and Jacob. Yesterday, I am pleased to announce 2 of our graduates were commissioned as second lieutenants in the United States Army. I'll ask them to stand. Joseph Michael Friedman and Benjamin Lee Snyder. At this time, I'm also pleased to acknowledge and congratulate Melissa Gates, one of today's graduates from the Eberly College of Science and Technology, who captured 2 NCAA national championship titles in swimming this year to go with the national championship she won a year ago, thus making her a 3-time NCAA national champion in her athletic career while at CalU. Among other notable honors, Melissa was also named the PSAC Athlete of the Year, and she will compete in the 2012 U.S. Olympic Trial qualifiers in the 50-meter freestyle event. Good luck and congratulations. Since this is Mother's Day weekend, I will ask all the mothers in the audience to stand and be recognized, all the moms. Happy Mother's Day. Gentlemen, you have less than 24 hours. Graduates, on behalf of the university, I want to offer our congratulations. No commencement ceremony would be complete without saying a word or two about success and happiness. In keeping with that tradition, consider the following words. Success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get. And experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. So as you graduate today, we wish you extraordinary success, great happiness, and no more experience than absolutely necessary. Congratulations. At this time, I will ask all the parents, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, and all loved ones who helped these graduates through the past few years, either financially, emotionally, or physically, to please stand up so we may confer on you your PhD degree you pushed him or her through. Yeah. In conclusion, we will now sing the first verse of the alma mater, after which Reverend Quisenberry will present the benediction. I ask the audience to please remain in your seats following the benediction until the end of the recessional. As a reminder to our guests, the graduates will recess in the following way, and these instructions will help you meet your graduate because of the large crowd right after the commencement. If your graduate is from the College of Education, they will recess to my right. They'll go right out that door, and if you want to meet them, you want to go to that corner of the building. Liberal arts grads will recess to the front left side of the arena. They'll be going out that exit right there. So if you want to meet your liberal arts grad, you want to go out that exit to find them most easily. College of Science and Tech grads and associate degree grads will recess through that exit, the right front side of the building. For family photography purposes, there are backdrops out there that say California University of Pennsylvania, May of 2012, so you have a perfect backdrop for your photographs. It is now time for the alma mater.
May God bless you and keep you, and in grateful response, may you love with passionate action, continue to pursue both knowledge and wisdom, and live lives of excellence and service, so that peace may be your constant companion and joy your life's song. Amen.
that support.